A motion by Helmut.
Welcome to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we're here to talk about what goes on in the village, the township. You know, those government people that make laws and regulations that affect you out there.
That's right, Elgin. And whether you live in the village of Oxford, the village of Leonard, Addison Township, Roxford Township, these are the people that you went and elected, and you'll get that opportunity again this year. And there are committees and the commissions that make decisions that directly affect you, whether you chose to go to that meeting or not. And, well, the result can be a taxing
Situation.
That's correct.
And there's other things that we do here. This Minutes by Minute broadcast that we have lasts about a half an hour on these meetings, so you can learn what's going on without sitting in front of the television for, let's say, what, an hour, 2 hours?
3 hours.
3 hours, 4 hours. But you can get the information by going to OCCTV.org and
Click on programs. And the meetings will be there in their entirety. We don't edit anything out. And you can sit back with your beverage and your chips and prepare for a long winter's nap. No.
may take a while.
But the program will be there in its entirety. Every program will be in reverse date order. Reverse. There's also a drop-down menu where you can go and tunnel down to, say, the village of Oxford or the village of Leonard or Addison Township and see every meeting that ever occurred there for the last, I think our limit now is about 400 days.
Long time.
That's right.
It's out there. The other thing that we do is we find that there's humor in every meeting. And sometimes it's at the top, sometimes it's at the bottom.
Dud.
And, and usually this guy has a habit of digging it out. So he will let you know what's going on here. The other thing that he likes to do is spread rumors from time to time. So pay close attention to
I'm not the only one. So take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Everything we say is mostly true.
Mostly true, yes. And let's talk about some things that were mostly true, and that's at the Oxford Village Council meeting, which was held on February 11th.
Aha.
And the other one we're going to try to cover is the Oxford Township.
Board of Trustees.
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah,
How'd you know that?
Those guys.
All right. All right. Well, let's start with the Village of Oxford meeting, shall we? Joe Frost is the chairman or the president of the council. Maureen Helmuth serves on that board. Kate Logan serves on the board. Dave Bailey, who was absent, is normally on the board. And Allison Kemp. Now, Joe Madure, who's the village manager, of course, he oversees the whole operation and provides input. Bob Davis, who is what we call the shadow.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, everywhere that, they have meetings like this, Bob Davis is there to make sure that things are proper.
He parses through every word and makes sure it's all legal.
He does. And Terry Onika, who's the clerk, she's there as a recording secretary. And so all the information you see, you can get a copy of the minutes if you want by getting a hold of the village. Now, first thing they did is the preliminaries, the Pledge of Allegiance, of course, and they call to the public. Now, this is a situation where it's items not on the agenda for the evening. People can come forward, speak before the mic, and usually there's a 3-minute limit on that.
Yeah, just depends if things previously got out of hand.
That's exactly right. The individual that stepped forward this time is Brian Cloutier, and he's the Oxford director of the library, right? And his concern is that he heard rumors that the village is thinking about becoming a city rather than a village. Yeah, rumors.
I thought that was our area.
Well, that was yours, pretty much, but he's trying to steal your thunder and your lightning.
I see. Anyhow.
So anyway, Brian wanted to point out very strongly that if the village of Oxford becomes a city, you folks that live in the village lose virtually all the benefits that you get from the library because they no longer will accept or get tax money, for the library. So there's such programs as I was pointing out earlier. They teach kids how to play chess. They have theatrical programs on where kids can learn how to work in theater. There's musical sessions that they have.
Unless, of course, Oxford decides to contribute to the library.
Right, I'm sure there's a price to it. But, he was pointing out that immediately after this being passed, everything changes. So you want to be careful of that. It's a concern if you like the library.
So groundwork needs to be laid.
Yes, and my wife and I and our family have enjoyed the library here in Oxford for a number of years.
You just like
and
to
they
huddle
do a
down
great
by
job.
that nice little fireplace, that's all.
Yeah, you've been there too.
Yeah,
haven't
that's
you?
right.
Right, yep. So anyway, the next thing was the consent agenda. It was approved immediately, received and filed. And the consent agenda part B, which is the money portion of it. Ka-ching, ka-ching. Can you say ka-ching? Okay, that was $176,941 roughly. Pretty good ka-ching, ka-ching there, I would say. New business was the next item that they talked about. And Joe Madura gave a quick presentation on the rental registration program for the new ordinance coming up. I don't know if you folks are aware, but if they're trying to get folks that own property that are renting rooms or apartments to register. And the whole purpose is for security and safety. There's a lot of places the fire chief said he's gone into where the electrical, there's one case where this elderly couple had about 15 circuits run off one line.
Yikes.
So yeah, I can't say smoking. There's
But in a
smoking.
lot of rental situations, some of them are actually set up as a business.
Right.
Whereas others, well, little Bobby went off to college, we got a room to rent.
Yes, we do. And here's the other thing, a lot of these regulations and so forth are state regulated. So this might be a little bit of redundancy, but what they want to do is provide inspections.
Right.
To make sure, that these properties are up to par. And it's good for the property owner, that they've been inspected and approved. If they're leasing and they want a good reputation. The other side of it is if you're in one of these situations where the property owner really doesn't care how they maintain it, there's a good opportunity for them to be restricted to get it done according to the ordinance. So I think it's a good thing.
Yep.
And I think it came before the village council a number of years ago, but it was turned down because of the state regulations that normally enforced everything. So that...
they trump everything.
They trump everything, yes. But this is a safety issue that Mr. Schultz, the fire chief,
Sure,
has
there's
brought forward.
electrical, there's heating.
Heating.
There's gas utility, there's a whole bunch of stuff that...
Stairways even.
Stairways designed, you have to be able to have what? The minimum of 2 exits?
Yes,
On a house?
you should have.
Or a rental property in any case.
Absolutely, you're right. And speaking about more right, we'll get back to right in just a moment. We'll be back.
Better right than wrong.
If you're interested in sponsoring a show for OCTV, please give us a call at 248-628-9658 and we'll air a promotional video for your local business.
Welcome back to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
Yes, and we're having a lively discussion about the Oxford Village Council meeting that was held on February 11th. The next thing we want to talk about, of course, we did discuss briefly about the rental registration. And one of the points that one of the commissioners brought up, or council members brought up, was the fact that there may be a need for a full-time inspector for this job, because right off the get-go and out of the gate, you're talking roughly about 150 locations, and there may be more, in the village.
But I know that when a property is sold, then an inspection is done.
Well,
To be sure
normally it
everything-
is if they know about it, but there are a number of apartments out there that are being rented, leased, they don't know anything about it.
No, I mean of a building
Oh,
that
a
has
building,
rental
yes.
property in it, then it's selling it to a new owner. Then an inspection really is done, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true, pretty much. There would be before anybody bought the building.
Sure.
Okay. To make sure everything was in place, and of course, they're not going to get a mortgage on it unless it is correct, so as a rule. So that's why you have an inspection. Of course, you folks know that out there. The other thing that came up is the cost of the inspection, and that was recommended $75 for the inspection fee. And that's not too bad, considering, if there are violations or issues you need to be confronted with. You want to know as a building owner, I'm pretty sure. You don't want anybody injured or hurt, in your
If an inspection
apartment.
is done, will it be done on a regular basis Do it this year, do it 4 years from now?
That's a very
whatever.
good question, because if it's an apartment that has multiple violations in dangerous situations, they more than likely will have more than one inspection, either within the year or the next year for sure.
Right.
But if everything is clean, everything is up to par, your circuit box and everything is correct,
You put it on a normal cycle, maybe
Right.
10 years or 5
maybe
years or
maybe
whatever.
3 or 4 years. It hasn't
Sure.
been established yet. But what they're going to do is inspect by quadrant. Now, they haven't really defined what a quadrant is yet. There's districts, but what is a quadrant?
Well, it's got 4 sides, maybe.
Right. We're trying to find out what the other side of it is.
Or
at this
there may
point.
be only 4 of them, because it's a quadrant.
Right. So anyway, this needs to be defined, and Bob Davis, brought this out as the attorney. And he said what he'd like to do is meet with the Planning Commission to determine this and other
Right.
issues before it goes forward. And of course, the board approved, the council approved that Bob Davis can do this. So I have a meeting with the Planning Commission, and then the Planning Commission will again send it back to the village council to make a decision at that time. Okay. Next step that they were talking about, and the next issue was marijuana workshop ordinance that they had. And they were discussing, should it be a special land use? By the way, a special land use goes on forever. Once this approved.
Even as the property changes ownership?
Yes. Property ownership, it run into the age of where Moses left, and,
Up to the point where the new owner wants to do something different.
well, if you do something different, then you got to go before the planning commission with a site plan and so
Right.
forth in
Right,
advance.
Right, but
So-
it can happen.
Yeah, it's changeable. You can
Right,
do that
sure.
with a change of money, change of property, that kind of thing. Bob Davis reviewed the structure process with the council, and he believes that the zoning compliance ordinance is the way to go. That it's a special, not the special land use, but this is permittable. So in other words, it can change.
Well, hasn't the village already designated that these
Right.
businesses will be in a certain area, like Industrial Drive, I
Right.
think it was?
But the one thing they want to caution themselves on is that they don't want to let this be known as this is the marijuana district. So they're
Well-
gonna have to deal with that and try to define it, so that it's not considered,
You limit the number of facilities.
like this is a bar district. This is where all the bars are. This is a church district. This is where all the
But
churches
there's
are.
limitations on bars too.
There are.
Yeah.
They're
You
subject, of
can't
course. to-
have them next to churches and stuff like that.
They're subject to both ordinances in the local area as well as state regulations.
And I'm sure that the same thing will apply to these marijuana dispensaries too.
I'm pretty sure it'll function probably pretty much the same. I think you're on the right track there. So anyway, that took care of that part of it, and there was a letter of resignation right after that, Kate Logan. And Kate Logan will be leaving. She'll be going to Washington, D.C. and working for the veterans. What is it called? DD?
Department of
Department
Defense.
of Defense. Yeah, Department of Defense, and they're for Vietnam vets, that type of thing. So it's a great vocation that she's going to be entering into. So we're going to be, sad to see her leave, but going on bigger and better things. So that leaves a post open, a seat open on the village council.
Now, didn't we just find out that seat, she'll fill it, someone will fill that
Mm-hmm.
position, but with the next election, even though she had, 2 or 3 years to go
Yeah.
on her term,
Yes.
this position will be up for election with this election coming up.
Yes, it will be. Yep.
Okay.
So what'll happen here is whoever fills the seat will fill it to the end of that term, and then
No,
if they want to run,
The term or just this year to the next election?
no, it's to the completion of the term. So let's say she has 2.5 years to go on the term. The person who's appointed will fill that term and in time to run for our election at that time.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. I'm so sure. I would be willing to bet it right now. How much you want to put up?
They got a Lego piece
No,
here.
$1.50 won't do it. Okay, so forget the Legos. He's building Lego houses. Okay. So anyway, so that's the way that'll work. And Joe Frost, the president, he said, well, we have a file of people who are very much interested in joining the council here. So he said he would review that and then take it up on February 18th at a special meeting at 6 p.m. So that's February 18th, special meeting at 6 p.m. To discuss who might fill this seat. Okay? Mario Ortega, who is the consultant for the village, was supposed to give a presentation this evening, but he wasn't ready for it, so he didn't make it to this one. So that's going to be something coming up the line in terms of future ordinances that the village will be interested in doing. One of those things would be tattoo parlors, that kind of thing. Give you an idea. The other thing is Pollyant Trail was approved for Allison Township. I'm sorry, not for Addison Township, Oxford Village. And the point was that there's going to be an increase to you folks in Oxford Village. $150 is what you're going to be paying.
So don't get excited out there in
No.
Addison Township.
No, and Joe Frost says, $150? He said, that'll cost you less than what it costs to go to a dentist. He said, everybody uses,
That's right.
Pollyant Trail. So he
In
said,
addition to which, there's a big infrastructure in the village of Oxford with the bridge and everything.
absolutely. And the other thing, he said, we need to include this in the budget. And this needs to be a sincere concern that this village will have, because the amount of spans that we have for the area,
I
all
see.
the trails.
And weren't you
So-
saying before that the Township of Oxford contributes $750, something like that?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're over $700. That's the increase that they're going to be paying.
Oh, the increase?
Yeah, they actually pay more than that.
Oh, okay.
So, and the village would be paying $150 in terms
Increase.
of increase. Yep.
Okay.
So, which is very, very small in terms of, the area that's covered.
Do you know the total?
I did know the total, and I was afraid you'd ask that. Forget you asked that. Okay.
It's worst fears.
Take a note. And we'll be right back, folks, right after this with more. Welcome back to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we're going through this stuff as fast as we can, folks, but there's a lot of things that is happening on the side here that
fast,
you
wave
can't
your
see.
arms a lot.
Right. When we're done, all the comments this guy has. We ought to do some outtakes, I think, at some point. But anyway, the next issue we're going to talk about is the Board of Trustees meeting, which was held on February 12th, which is the day after the Village of Oxford. The people serving on this board, Bill Dunn, he's the supervisor of the township, of course. Curtis Wright, who is the clerk, and Joe Ferrari, the treasurer. And by the way, doing a great job as treasurer. This year alone, in interest, he was through his investments. The money that he was able to get in terms of return was $300 and some thousand.
Wow.
Yep, very well done job for Joe Ferrari. Jack Curtis serves on the board as trustee, and Margaret Payne, Patty Durr, and yours truly. Okay, Kelly Richter was the recording secretary during this meeting. They did a call of order, which included all of us. Respects to the flag was done quickly. Noting of the roll was also approved by the secretary. Approval of the agenda, absolutely approved for the February 12th, 2020 agenda. Approval of the consent agenda also was approved quickly. Public comment on items not at on the agenda. And Brian Cloutier, the executive director. He's all over.
He's everywhere. He's
Yeah,
everywhere.
He's everywhere. Here, he's there. He's there. Here, there, everywhere. Anyhow, he did want to discuss the impact that the village would have
Going to City Hall.
going to city. Yeah. So he did discuss that, and we've already talked about this on the Oxford Village meeting, council meeting. So if you want to see more, you can go to occtv.org and clicking on.
Duh. Oh, OCCTV.org.
And clicking on da.
Clicking on programs, and everything is in reverse date order.
Right. Okay.
So find it there.
You got it.
Unedited.
Pretty much. No, you can't. You can't edit it.
We
You're
put
not
a
allowed
front
to do
and
that.
back end on it, but that's about it.
See, here we are. Here we go. This is what we've done.
And as long as the meeting was, that's as long as it'll play.
Well, at the township meeting, back to the township, second reading for a zoning ordinance, and it was for light industrial area, and just something added into it for gas stations, I believe. Zoning ordinance, the second one was a definition of principal building. And what that included is, if you build a home, where does the garage? Is that a separate piece of property as far as building, or is it all one? Well, it was determined by the planning commission it would be all one and calculated with the square footage.
Even if it's a breezeway?
Even if it's a breezeway. Yep, it's all part of square footage. Okay, the next one that they did was for the wireless facilities right-of-way management ordinance, and it was passed immediately. They want to maintain some type of control of these wireless companies that come in and put
The new 5G
the new
stuff?
5G stuff up. Yeah, they don't want to have it on your doorstep or in your
No,
mailbox.
But I understand that when they start building this stuff, these poles are going to be relatively close together.
Oh, they can be. Yep, they got to normally be within line of sight of each
Right.
other. So that'll be interesting.
With little refrigerator-sized boxes on
But
them.
we want to, we do want to let you know that there was a state regulation that allows these 5G units going in. So please don't pick up the phone and call the township and be upset over it, because township has no control over that. Okay?
Call your congressman,
Yeah,
or
they-
not your congressman.
yeah,
but
they dig a big
Call your
hole.
congressman too, because the federal and the state governments pass these laws.
That's right. And however, if they do dig a mammoth hole in front of your house, the township will make them fill it back up through these ordinances. Okay, so that'll work out fine. Fire
Mammoth
department was the next individual that stood up, was Pete Schultz, fire chief, and he was asking the township board if they would approve payment to Nancy Hunger, who was an EMT at one time, high-ranking EMT, became ill. She was out not for a month or two, but for a whole year. In the meantime, the township had to fill her slot, and so there was a disagreement when she came back that she wanted that slot back.
Was
And
she actually terminated at some point?
Well, through the lack of coming to work, and I think she got doctor's referral that she could come back to work, but claimed she was still ill. She filed a grievance, with the township, in which she wanted, I think it was over $20,000 in cash, and
As a single payment?
as a reinstatement of her position, on the fire department. But they gave her a lesser position, was what they agreed to, but she's still with the fire department. And the union was there to support this whole effort that she had.
Is that a
So it's been
full-time-
quite a battle.
Is that a full-time job?
Is a full-time job, yep. But the situation was that I think the bulk of the council felt they wanted to get it done, wanted to get over with, and not fool around with the attorneys anymore with this. And so they all voted to go forward with this, except
How long has this litigation been going on?
for over a year.
You.
Yeah, so it was quite a while. So they want to finish it up. So anyway, that's a good one. They sweep it under the rug, and I'm not in agreement with it, because I believe it was in a degree kind of extortion. It's my own opinion, but that's my own opinion, not expressed by the station. Okay,
And that's why they call it America.
that's why we have the humor here, folks. Here's some humor. Okay, but anyway, I wish her the very best, and I think the township is happy to resolve this issue. Also, Sharp Engineering report was next, and he didn't really have a whole lot to say. M24, of course, is still going to progress, but it looks like it's going to be April 15th and not March 15th.
Aha.
Because there's something to do with the state that they can't dig into the ground.
Where there's
until-
permafrost?
Where there's permafrost, yeah.
I see.
There are
But
icebergs coming to the top, that kind of thing.
as I think you mentioned before the program, this does not push the finish date back.
No, does not.
Okay.
So it's maybe November, roughly, is the estimated.
Work faster and smarter.
That's true. Okay. Now, the other thing that they approved was AT&T location at 2795 Seymour Lake Road. There's a lot of business done that the other evening. And what the township will gain from this is $9,000 a year in terms of payment, from AT&T. So that's a good amount of funds that's coming in.
Is that strictly AT&T, or does AT&T, say, sublet out to Verizon for a position on that thing?
It'll be strictly for AT&T under the contract. There's not a
see.
subcontract under it.
So the township could literally have built its own cell tower and rented out space on it.
Do you know how much it costs to build one of those babies? They're really expensive.
Probably a lot, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Then I don't think the township wants to get in the communications business, really. That would be my opinion. Speaking of your opinion, what's coming up?
Not much.
Not much? Oh,
No.
that's what you
We
got?
do have on 2/24, February 24th, the OACCC, which is
Go ahead.
the Oxford Area Cable Communications Commission, our parent body.
Well done, my
We'll
son.
be meeting, thank you very much. At 4:30, it'll be meeting in the Village of Oxford offices, which is what they do all the time. And on 2/27 at 7 o'clock, the Oxford Township Planning Commission will be meeting. And that's all I got.
Till next time, I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave
Catch you
Kenny.
next time right here on Minutes by Minute.
See you then.
Catch us anytime on YouTube. Go to Oxford Community Television YouTube. Do you love local sports? Whether it's Oxford High School or Parks and Rec, you can buy copies of each game. To purchase your copy, call us at 248-628-9658 or give us an email at manager@occtv.org or talk to us at the next game. Hopefully we'll see you there. We here at OCTV cover the local events and government meetings of Oxford, Addison, and Leonard. We also produce and edit programs for you viewers out there. With the leadership of our station manager, Bill Service, we have been a very successful team, winning awards from the state of Michigan for Best Electronic Media, giving attention to our local veterans. We also won awards for excellence in directing and educational programs. With the help of our great new equipment and our technical directors, we write, produce, and broadcast our local news for you. Without our production manager, Terry Stiles, our channel and station wouldn't be the well-oiled machine it is today. She coordinates the editing assignments and shoot schedule with our editors and camera people. OCTV and its communities make a great team. Do you love local sports? Whether it's Oxford High School or Parks and Rec, you can buy copies of each game. To purchase your copy, call us at 248-628-9658 or give us an email at manager@occtv.org, or talk to us at the next game. Hopefully we'll see you there.